Ready, go. Unveiled Voices. Hi everyone, welcome back to another wonderful episode of Unveiled Voices. My name is Mariam and I still have here with me.
Anifah.
I am sure you already see what is different here.
Are you sure they can?
Exactly. Maybe we should tell them. Do you want to tell them, Anifah?
Yes, like guys, this is our first shoot in person.
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah.
I mean, it feels good.
So excited.
Yeah, and maybe we should do a quick shout out to our investors as well.
I'll let you do the shout out.
So yeah, we would like to make a shout out to our wonderful investors, our two husbands. So yeah, thank you very much for supporting us. How are you, Anifah?
Yeah, this week has been an interesting week. Maybe in future episodes I will share more about this week, but one thing I'm really like struck by is just how grateful I am to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Alhamdulillah.
As humans, I feel like we always want things, we always want to move fast, and sometimes certain things will happen, and you just realize that okay, let me just take a pause and just thank Allah for everything. Shout out to God, man.
Yeah, it's the bit of where we plan, but Allah is the best of planners. There's an ayah in Surah Baqarah where it says you probably want something and it's not the best thing for you, and Allah knows like what is best for you. So I mean, it always makes sense in hindsight. So I'm sure you definitely look back and you will just laugh over like
girl, I'm even
laughing already. Yeah, I mean, for me, my week was the definition of if you are good at something, or maybe the corporate slang of the reward of good work is more work.
Girl,
yeah, I found myself in that I changed roles in my company, and so it's literally like day one for me. But because I'm good at what I do,
you already have that reputation.
Yeah, I have that reputation, and it's just like you do this, you do this, you do this. I'm like, yo, I need a breather. Like, let me actually land and settle in proper into this new role. But it's just like we know you can do this, do this. We know you can do this, do this. So I'm just like, okay, fine. But all in all, my 8 hours is going to be my 8 hours. I'm definitely not pulling all nighter.
I love that for
I'm
you.
definitely not pulling any all nighter. So I'm just going to do what I can do. And I mean, I've been praying to Almighty Allah for him to increase my knowledge and all of that. So today's topic is an interesting one.
Is it?
It is. So, working woman. What does that mean? So what? Yeah.
Honestly, I don't want to go into like a whole tired of like even how people make the word sound like it shouldn't
be together. Yeah.
But yeah, I think when I think about a working woman, I think about a woman who actually either has a business or does a 9 to 5, or just generally someone who provides some value or services and gets mostly like financial incentive to do that. So in the very like bare minimum, that's what it means in my head.
Yeah, I mean, you're right with what you said earlier on. People make it sound like you shouldn't, like those two words should not coexist, right?
Like, when we say people, what do we mean?
Culture, society. Yeah, like people just feel. I mean, there's the notion of a woman cannot have it all, which is always a common.
Do you agree with that?
I mean, to some extent, there are just some biological instances that definitely, and Allah has designed it in that way.
Is this about biology though? Like
exactly. So when people say working woman, there's conversations around. So like you are a woman, you are working. There is a man who is working. You guys started off your career at the same time, probably age 20. You entered into the workforce together. The man would always have that continued like career track sort of, but there will definitely come a time in that woman's life where she either has to take a pause because she has to give birth to kids, if Allah wills.
Does she have to?
But of course, yeah, you're right to question this, but I mean, there's the difference.
Like if you follow the conventional path,
yeah.
And you want kids as a woman, like, I guess what you're trying to say is
you have to take that pause
breaks from
exactly.
working to either go off after your kid and then, sometimes you get back in, sometimes you don't.
Exactly. And even getting back in, for those that come back in, it might be a lot of struggle because then you have to come back into work, the expectation of you to still continue doing what you used to do before. And on the other side, you have your life, you have new kids to take care of, which again, I know it's not like the woman's ultimate responsibility. Like, she's not supposed to be like responsible for taking care of the child alone. There is a man who fathered the child as well. We should also,
it's a family.
Yeah, it's a family. But my point is, because of all of that, people tend to like not expect to see those two words together. So
I see. So what you're saying is that because of like the traditional
way,
the way things used to be, mostly people expect women to like spend a lot of time in the home, raising the children, keeping the home. And as such, even now that we're still in the 21st century, 21st century. Whatever, it's still kind of like you can walk, but not too much.
Yeah. And also, even when I look at it from working woman, and also to my point earlier on how society has shaped that, I've said it before on the podcast that I grew up being scared of my ambitions because in the media, in movies, if you see an eye achieving woman who is working and all of that, there's always the clause of either she doesn't have a husband, or she ended up settling with somebody who is lower than her, maybe probably marrying a driver. Like, media was as bad as that. So I remember growing up and I was like, oh my God, okay, is this going to be what would happen? But why do you still think there is this controversy? And like, in the world of ambition versus tradition, like, why do you still think this whole working woman controversy still exists?
Do you know what? I always say that generally we are in a world where I'm trying to pick my words here because I don't want it to seem like, oh, I'm bashing men or anything, but the way we girls are brought up, like some of us were even privileged. Some people grew up in like a drill camp where it's like they can't do something without someone saying, "Oh, is that how you
do in your husband's house?"
Like, that is something I don't know about like other tribes or not, but we are Yoruba. Yeah, it's just a thing where exactly. For people that don't know to translate, that means like, is that how you're going to behave in your husband's house? And so you are brought up with that. In the same vein, like in our generation, they also had really high expectations that you should go to school, you should kill it in school. So we grew up having to wear like dual hats. Like, so at home you do your chores, there will still be all of these things being said to you that as a girl you're supposed to do X, Y, Z, and then academically everything else is still supposed to kill it. So I think to your point about why is there still some controversy, women are essentially being brought up to do it all. Let's I mean, there are some things that maybe physically you can't do, but as a girl, you can live alone because you can feed yourself, you can do all the house chores, you can walk in, you can travel. So it's like we were brought up with that do it all, crush it all perspective. And when you now scale that into the real world, right? I have to be realistic here. It's very hard to continue to be that way. Yeah. I even think it's almost asking too much of women that at the same time you should be crushing it at work, crushing it with childcare, being the best wife, being the best daughter, still being like a star performer. Yeah. Like, it's almost a lot of pressure. And what you find is that maybe when people first get married, they try to do all those things. Yeah. And then it comes to the point where it just So I think the controversy is that a lot of women are now realizing that why am I being scammed? Why am I being scammed? And they're like, okay, let's actually walk this back.
Yeah. So okay, maybe going back to the very beginning. Yeah. Should women be working?
What's wrong with you? Why don't you want to work?
No, let's actually like be, should I say?
So how do you want me to answer this? Like,
so because where I was going to is there is this Quran verse people tend to quote a lot on how men are supposed to be the caretakers of women in Surah. Exactly. So if you look at like societies. There are some societies that they act outrightly do not allow their women to work, and they are
What
sort
does
of
that even mean?
like their women are secluded from society.
Mm-hmm.
Their women don't go out.
Is
Their,
that because I want you to be competent? Is it like culturally or
yeah.
more
So
culturally, right?
there's a bit of culture. That was what I was going to. There's a bit of culture, and there's a bit of also people owning, like from a religious point of view, they are really owning on to that verse of like women should
So
be.
I take the view that those things are not mutually exclusive, right? So men being the provider, protector, whatever it is, doesn't mean you
I
should
should
work.
have my
So
things
for
going.
example, the first wife of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi
Exactly.
Wasallam, like she was rich girl. Like, so when I hear this, I'm like, do you guys know?
No, what voice was a place?
Yes,
Yeah,
really, like,
yeah.
our mother, Khadija,
Yeah.
may Allah be pleased with her. She was very rich. She had businesses. She used to do like trades from what. In fact, I think that's how
They met.
she
Yeah.
met the prophet, if I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken.
Yeah.
So I don't think, like, again, those two things are mutually exclusive. Like, I think, your husband can be your provider, protector, for those that have husbands, because that's even another thing.
Yeah.
Like, let's be real. Not everyone is going to get married. Like, it's something that Allah gives,
gifts.
not everyone has brothers, not everyone has family that can. So, I'm sorry, what are those people supposed to do? Like, what if you don't have protectors or men around you? That there are people who also don't have family.
So, like I said, if we look at it and where this kind of things or like notions are obtainable is because their culture has sort of shaped it.
Yeah.
So they've kind of settled or agreed upon the concept of the husband is the provider and then the woman is just supposed to sit at home and literally just take care of, because which is not a bad idea. I mean, there are some people who derive joy
It's even
from
a
being,
noble thing.
Yeah, from
I think
being
anyone that can stay
at
home,
home and
that's what they do.
Yeah.
Like, we need to give them their flowers.
Yeah.
It's good. I've been around kids and I'm like,
this is a lot of work. Yeah. So we also made mention of like Khadija radiallahu anhu, how she was definitely a successful
woman by all
businesswoman.
standards.
Yeah, and even when the Dawah of Islam started, because of her wealth and all of that, she was able to like fully support and
Oh my
drive the
God,
cause of Islam.
I love this point you made.
Yeah.
Because like the fact is, I've been in a couple of spaces, right? And when we're talking about influence and power, like, you can't underestimate what having money does.
Yep.
May Allah grant us halal wealth, income. There are just some things that when money is involved, it becomes easier.
Easy.
And so for me, even when we talk about this thing of working woman, I always bring it to, like, it's not haram to work.
Yeah.
Let's be clear.
Yeah.
And oftentimes I don't even like talking haram halal, because I think that some of these conversations actually take us back. Like, sorry to say, other communities are talking about, how do we make sure our kids have enough space to play? How do we make sure in the community and you find people online fighting about what?
Right, provider.
Like, really, let's be realistic. Like, in this world of nowadays, we even live in the West, so let's be real. How many people actually earn enough to single-handedly live on one person?
I was actually going to come there on. So let's put aside culture, religion.
Yeah, because those are.
And let's face our modern reality.
Yeah, within the framework
of where we are living right now, how many people can really survive on dual, like single income households? I mean, if it's possible, I don't mind. I don't mind. But yeah, but how many people? And to your point on like what influence money can actually do. Like, imagine a scenario where you and your kid, like the mom and the kid goes out and, oh mom, I want to buy this. Oh, I don't have money to buy this for you. Oh mom, I want to do this. Or like just the little of things, and you don't have influence over like what you can.
It's also that thing that, may Allah not make us. I don't know the best way to say it, but I think there's still something to be said for like I have my own thing. Like, I'm earning, I have my own money. I can wake up today and decide, oh, there's this really lovely thing I want to buy in the house. Apart from that, I actually enjoy my work.
Exactly.
It doesn't also have to necessarily be 9 to 5. Like people have passion. Some people they like to make outfits. Some people own businesses. I know of someone like a friend was telling me that a friend of her mom's started like a nursery, and all this stemmed from maybe when she had her own kids and
And she
before she
wanted
had
to.
apparently it's a big thing and she's quite boxed up.
Mhm.
And when I say boxed up, she's well to do. So it's like some of these like businesses or services or jobs people do stems out of real passion,
Yeah.
a real need to make things easier for
Yeah.
themselves or other people. So why wouldn't you want that for someone else? Like if that's what they want, why not? Like,
Yeah.
it's not even always about money, economy. Though there's a cloud that comes with
Having your own money. I mean,
so
yeah, like
why
to your
should
point on like passion, imagine not having female gynecologists because somebody
Girl.
somewhere said they should
Girl.
not work. Imagine not having female doctors. Imagine.
I even hate that we have to go into this
I actually had
justification.
I actually had an experience once, and that was at the time when I just finished OAU, and like 2 years into us finishing OAU, there was this whole riot, sort of riot, because I don't quote in OAU,
Riot
on like versus non-MSSN, what courses Muslim girls should be studying and all that. But I remember one of like the controversial discussions then was that some people claimed that some of the Muslim brothers were actually telling Muslim girls to drop out of some courses they came to study in school because so let me just give you the full context. Then that happened and all of that, and I think school authority had to like step in, and it was becoming an issue. Yeah, like there were rumors and claims about people, some girls getting married without their parents' consent. So fast forward to when I finished school and I got my full time job. So we had to do like medicals, right? And the company was going to pay for it, obviously. Then, so it was just like, oh, take this referral, go to so hospital, go get your ECG done. And then I went there that day, and it was time for ECG. So ECG is the one where they plug something, and they have to like literally plug it to your direct body. And then I opened the door to the place they'll do it, and then this guy was telling me, "Okay, take off your clothes and go there." And I'm like, sorry.
You felt uncomfortable, right?
No, it was even for me. It was even first the audacity he had to say that to me because, bro, you're still your food jam. Yeah, but bro, you're still your food jam. We are taking pictures.
So what is the expectation to do?
So that's you. So that's let me explain.
I want you to make your
yeah, exactly. So I was like visibly angry, and I told them point blank that no, I was not going to do that, and I actually insisted on it. And they went to look for a female. In fact, funny enough, that lady was just clocking in just about that time. So if that lady was not there, it could have been a case of where it's either I didn't do it or I would have to. Yeah, exactly. But like I was visibly angry and furious because even now remembering like the old OAU issue and the rumors of some people saying
apparently telling you.
Yeah, so I'm like, wow, so this is how in a few years to come just because of what yeah, like because I want to get
first of all, I think they should have offered you like
yeah.
I don't know if I'm going to blame the guy because he is probably just doing his job, but I think they should have offered you the option of do you want like a because that's what they do even here in the UK most times. Like
I don't think Nigeria was
you want
to that they don't care.
Yeah, I've never really had to deal with
Nigeria
exactly. But like to your point, I'm going to look at the women in the eyes and talk to them like, if you let people scam you, in this world,
I think knowing your right to be this person starts from.
See, like me, I say that I'm very strong-headed. I'm not saying that like I've always been this way. I've actually grown over the years to find my voice and all. But one thing I've always known is there are some things I used to hear even when I was a kid that it just didn't. It just didn't sound right.
This? Why?
When I was in uni, I made it a thing where I would even ask like for opinions from people that were more like knowledgeable than I am. They would even refer me to people that, okay, this thing, is it actually that way? Is that what Allah said? So I think as women, even young women, things that don't sound right? Don't jump into conclusion. Try to seek for knowledge. It could be your ustaz, at home. It could be even in school.
There are even online resources.
This is why I always say that
you can always.
Yeah, this is why I always say that. Don't be too far from your community. Like, you cannot be in school, for example, and no one knows you're a Muslim and you're a Muslim lady. I'm not even talking about the hijab or anything here. People should know you're a Muslim so that you can ask these people, Assalamu alaikum, sister, I heard this. Amira, I heard this. Yeah. They will tell you, based on this, these are the different school of thoughts, because oftentimes there are different school of thoughts in Islam, and this one is the most, this is and you will know. Then it's now left to you. Are you going to follow what Allah said? Are you going to follow what the Prophet has said, or do you want to be strong-headed? So for me, I would say ask questions if it's confusing and all. At the same time, like things that don't sound right, like so
obviously you just said I should take the vest or whatever I was going to put on. Then that's the changing room, and I'm like, are you are you sure you're talking to me?
Yeah, like that guy probably has seen.
Yeah, he probably has. So and he felt, that's normal.
I really blame the people that left you in there. And they didn't even give you the heads up, you just even tell you.
In fact, I was already hell bent on if this guy was not going to change this. I mean, if this is what would make me not get the job, I mean, I was just like,
take your job.
Go already, So one of the maybe talking point of all those controversy was some people then saying that the same brothers that are saying women should not study certain courses are the ones that will go to hospital when their wives are trying to give birth and then insist on female nurses. How would you get female nurses when so I mean
I think it's also telling that when they say these things, they only say it to women. Like, you are telling me I should not go to school and I should not do this, but you know how to read. That's why you should know that these things are not sounding they're not sounding correct. And please, again, I'm not the most knowledgeable person, but reach out to your community. People will always be willing to direct you to more knowledgeable people, and they'll give you all the facts that you need. Please don't let anybody bamboozle.
Don't let anybody scam you. Don't. So I mean, we've already established that we have working women in the society. So how for Muslim women that are pursuing a career, they're ambitious, balancing it all, you have to be a wife, you have to be a mother, you have to be a sister, you have to be a daughter.
We wear many hats, basically.
You have to. So, how do you basically balance it all? Maybe asking you at least you are balancing it or some sort.
What is balancing? I'm not balancing.
You are a wife, you are a sister, you are a friend, you show up for your community.
I think I'm an unusual person. Honestly, I have to be real with people. I don't think I'm the typical girl or woman. And why I would say that is that when I was getting married, I didn't come into it thinking, oh my God, I have to
do this, do that.
Yeah, as a princess in my own way. I was coming to enjoy. And I think that also shaped the way me and my husband, for example, our relationship evolved, because there's plenty things to do. Clearly, Anifah is not going to take this whole thing. So we grew up together, just doing things together, I think partly because I didn't come in thinking, I had to say
you made that decision.
I would say to women, it's fine if you love cooking, it's fine if you love cleaning the house. There are things I love doing. And I do them probably more. But please don't think that you have anything to prove to anyone.
Yeah.
Do the best you can do. And Allah knows best, because there's a very thin line between wanting to be a good wife, wanting to be a good daughter, and then grinding yourself
to
the bone.
Yeah.
Right? So I always say to women, or my friends, just be open and honest about your abilities, what you like, what you don't like with your husband. And look, I always look at people that say marry a kind person. Although yes, there are some maybe subtle signs you can see, but the fact is until you start living together, you don't know anything.
Yeah.
You know, until, and I'm saying this not as just someone or husband wife living together. I'm saying even like women living with each other. Because people have roommates and all. You might find out that this person you think is so actually maybe they are the laziest person ever. They don't even ever wash the plates or something. So, and also always see the other person as like a real person. Like they're not there to just check a box. And I feel that that's the way my husband and I see each other, so it makes it easy.
Yeah.
In terms of work, I will admit I am a workaholic. In fact, early on, like I always had this mindset of like, oh, you know, early 20s, work hard.
Grind.
Yeah, and I always say I have a different relationship with work just because like I had to be responsible very early. Like I was yeah. And so it's like early on I used to work, you know, tend to want to prove a point that, you know, I have a like I have a right to be here. And look, fact is if you're still early in your career,
you have to put
you probably need to do that.
Yeah, you probably have. Yeah, it's not probably. You actually have to put it in that. So that's what will speak for you.
Exactly.
Like, yeah.
But it's like, girl, you're 5 years in, you're 10 years in, you're still killing yourself working on the weekends, you know, for a job that, sorry to say, they can let you go anytime.
Yeah.
Or, you know, even if your job doesn't let you go, you yourself, Allah can call you back today. Your creator can call you back. Yeah. So when you think about those things, it should make you reset and say, okay, actually this weekend, even if that deadline was to kill me, I need to take a break so that I can even come back refreshed. So I think one guiding light I have to summarize it is that it's harder for some people than most, but you don't have to carry on everything. Like you don't owe anybody perfect. Like you don't even owe yourself perfection. You understand what I mean? Even Allah does not demand perfection from us. So I'll say, you know, just internalize that. What about
so yeah, I think I will take it from the lens of working woman and wife / mother and
this wife. I'm for the single people because you're like
no. I mean, someone single just literally has herself to think about. So
I think that's unfair.
No, I'm not saying it. No, that's not. Don't quote me.
Fighting for
I'm just,
you know.
Let me even say my point before you even deal with the cross. So funny enough, when I'm even about to reference, when I got to learn, like when I learned or listened or kind of like came to that conclusion about it was when I was not married, and I already had the mindset of okay these are like the tips and tricks I would use when I get married and when I become a wife and all that. I think for us as women, to your point already, like you mentioned earlier, that we always make it seem like we have a point to prove. So we always try to like carry the weight of everything and everyone on us.
Share that load.
Yeah.
Listen to me.
So now, cooking, for instance, why do you have to cook? If it's going to be super stressful for you. Order.
Okay. Some people will say
groceries. Groceries, for instance.
Some people will say, is it everybody that can afford?
So exactly, I was going to come to that. Groceries, for instance, you don't have to like go to. Since we moved here now, I can't remember the last time I stepped in.
I know you're talking because you are here.
No, so I'm going to give context to. I'm going to also like try to make it for not my own situation. Okay, so for instance, if you are in Nigeria, maybe cooking, you can't order. So okay, you can't order.
Yeah.
But you want to cook for the house. Okay, so what would you do? Everybody will find what they would do. I mean,
I will go a step further. If I want to really be controversial, I would say that like why does the burden of cooking have to
falls
be on
exactly.
Well, that's a separate conversation because I'm only working one. But to your point, you're trying to say that
So my
you
point
don't
is,
have to
like make your money, resources,
work for you.
and everything work for you.
So all our listeners are rich people.
No, it's like
Oh, you're not.
no, I don't think it's like a billion naira kind of rich. Okay, maybe like if you're not rich here in Nigeria, weekends when
Yeah, let me know.
weekends when okay, everybody, let's go to grandma's place. Go and eat Sunday lunch in grandma's house.
Wow, so they're always looking for us.
So, but my point is, I mean, me Allah, me Almighty Allah make us rich. I don't think rich is.
It's
That's
also ease.
so that's So I think sustenance is a better word. Like the Allah grant us sustenance. They provide for us to be able to like meet our basic needs and also beyond. So ultimately, just make your time and your resources work for you.
Use your resources wisely.
Yeah.
Don't grind yourself to the bone.
Yeah.
Because
so if you can outsource stuff, outsource it. If you can ask help from somebody,
I think self-care is also important.
I was going to come to that too because again, I don't know, I've actually been listening to a lot of those stuff lately. But you would hear things around mom saying, I'm going on a meet trip or having meet time. I think it's something society is starting to properly embrace now that I can't be your mom 24/7, 365
Shout out to our
days.
moms.
I mean, we have friends that are already moms, and like when we talk to them, like one of my friends literally told me that she wants to run away. Exactly.
My mom has said
she wants to run away. Like so. I think to your point of self care, know when you're already at your max.
Listen to yourself.
Because even so, look at a scenario where you're already at your max and you kept going and all of that. You will eventually snap. Then you snap at your kids, you snap at your husband, you meet people, nobody exactly. Then you become mean mom, nasty wife, and all of that. So listen to yourself, prioritize your self care. I think that's very important. A little bit of sidebar and to bring Twitter into this conversation. So there's this tweet from Mom Z. So she responded to a tweet saying, oh, that once these babes start collecting 150k salary and furnish their self-contained, bam, I don't need a man. So obviously that tweet was like saying, whatever you do in this world, you need a man. And somebody then came to quote this quote and then to quote this Momzi's tweet and said, a babe earning 150k doesn't actually need a man. She needs help with her career. You need to you won't understand. Crate of egg is in Nigeria.
Let's take it from the beginning.
Yeah.
So I think that tweet from Momzi. Personally, I think it has some hint of like being condescending.
To somebody even earning 150k.
Let me tell you, I've done a job before where I made 8,000 naira.
But that was then now. That was before Naira.
Mariam, even then, that was a shitty amount of money. Just saying. So, and I know how proud I was that I rate work. I rate hard work. Even if it's 5k you are earning, if it's honest, may God bless you.
Yeah.
To be honest.
And it's your own. You have that sense of ownership, that sense of...
That is the problem with that.
Yeah.
The other part is like, while I don't think like you need someone
to take care of your needs.
I think it's nice to have someone. I think partnership is nice.
That's the word.
We are for each other. Right? So I don't think there's anything wrong with companionship or you both being together and all, but that's the only problem I have. Like the hint of being like, making anybody making money in that country, anywhere, working hard, not doing what they're not supposed to do.
Kudos to the person. So I mean, definitely own your
What do you think about the response?
No, the response is very. I think
What
I
is the
agree.
response?
So the response was that anybody earning 150K doesn't need a man. She needs help with her career. Yes, because in Nigeria's
So
context,
that person is telling you ladies to start your
like
business.
yeah. So if you have a business, do your business.
Go hard, continue
Go hard
to
on
go
your
hard.
business.
Yeah.
If you are learning a skill,
Yeah.
go out on. Oh my god, I remember because I was talking to my mom over the weekend and there was like this auntie in our area. Then that was before the era of like when fashion designers blew
up.
and all of that. So you know there's tailor and there's fashion designer.
Which one is she?
She identifies as a tailor, but I think she had the potential to be a fashion
She's
designer.
very skilled.
Yeah. But the only thing this auntie lacked was she was very lazy. She was skillful but very lazy.
Lazy, like she didn't like to take on to
if you give her your dress today. So she was really good then that if she sews a clothes for me and I go to school and I wear it, people like, oh my god, we love your tailor. Can you give us our contact number? And I already tell them like like if you go and give her clothes, that's your own risk. But seeing somebody like that is skillful and she didn't own on to it, so she
never saw the
I don't think he's not saw the potential. I just felt she was very
she didn't want to
push for it. So she got fast forward. The story is still sort of long and it's a bit of a sad one. Because the way it turned out. Yeah, because I was literally just talking about it with my mom over the weekend. So fast forward, she got married. She was still doing this, but under the tailor thing and not like thinking big. In fact, then was when Instagram was just starting, and we used to tell her then take pictures of what you've sewn, like put it on Instagram.
By the way, sorry to I have to shout out like Nigerians on TikTok.
Yeah.
I see people selling
all sorts.
Wow, all sorts. Like kudos to you guys, you're amazing.
Yeah, so fast forward, she got married, she gave birth to 3 kids. Blah. She still didn't like upscale, like it was still at the same level she was at. So just small shops, just a few machines.
Why do you think that happens though?
I don't think it's the case of she didn't see the potential because she had. Oh my god! Like
no, I just said, why do you think it happens?
So I think it's I'll get to tie it to the condescending and not needing a man. So I think she got married and she just thought
why do I need to do all this?
Yeah. Fast forward to today. The husband is dead, and when mom was saying, the first thing that came to my head was, oh my god, the 3 kids.
How are they going to?
Like, how are they going to survive? Now, I don't even think she's doing the tailor thing. There were some bit of family issues. Who will take the kids? The kids are not even with her now. They're with the man's family. So, like, just
imagine. When we say these things, like, it's not from a gloating perspective.
Yeah.
This story is said, like, thankfully, my own mom even had something. But, like, when my dad died, it was very hard for her. She couldn't do anything for a long time. In fact, we had people come live with us. And so when I talk about work and my relationship to work, I'm not saying it because me too, I like to hustle like that.
It's have your own stuff you can fall back to.
If the breadwinner, quote unquote, is gone, like it's gonna be a struggle. So even if it's from a pure self-preservation perspective, like
have your own stuff, be a smart working woman.
It's a different world now. Like it doesn't need to be working for someone. It doesn't need to be even working the way we know it. You can be a writer. You can be like everyone has their own thing they like. Some people even just like content creating. Yeah, and then people are making a lot of money from it now.
My god! In this age and time, people are monetizing all sorts of skills. And I'm like, exactly. And I'm like, okay, maybe I need to check what skills do I have. What do I need to monetize?
Do you know? So first of all, I even hate the fact that we need to justify why we pursue our passions, why we need to work. I think anybody that is even talking to you about this is just leave them. See that this person is not even thinking the way I'm thinking and move on. And for those that are on the path, like it's hard, I know. There are some times where I'm battling with some issue at work, like coding that I've been doing for a while, and I just have to leave my desk, come back. So sometimes even like working with other people, there's like friction, There are sometimes where you get challenged and you're like, I can't even, I don't need to be here. Do I need to be here?
Let me just
You watch the like Everybody Hates Chris.
yeah.
There's that thing of the mother where like she's like, her husband works
Two
two
jobs, yeah.
So,
Like
I need to be here.
yeah.
When you think about the far-reaching consequences, like this is a world where chances are one income is not enough.
Mm-hmm.
You know, anything can happen
Yeah.
to you, to your partner,
Yeah.
to the person who is the benefactor. So how do you justify not being prepared, like as a Muslim, not tying your camel?
Yeah.
So for me, that's the way I think about it. In that, okay, we go again. Rest. Don't take it all on you. Lean on the people around you, but one step forward, right?
Yeah. I mean, even if you are the richest of richest, like you married the richest of richest man, I still feel you should have
your own passion.
for
Yes,
yourself.
and it doesn't need to be working. You can,
Yeah.
see, I even think when you have money already, it's a good place.
You can always
Just be
experiment and do
everywhere.
all
Some
sorts.
people got rich just by investing in other people's businesses, and one of them blew up. See, you know, that grant I was like, yeah, I'm just looking for. I just really want to blow.
Yeah. So I think to just like summarize it. So there is definitely nothing wrong with being a working woman.
Yes, if in case saying, you don't get that.
There's definitely nothing wrong with that. We know you can't have it all, but at least you can have the most of it. You need to continue to keep grinding. Keep doing what you're doing.
And again, I want to say people shouldn't be afraid to pivot.
Yes.
Like I think I'm going to invite
maybe
I'm going to invite my sister to this podcast. You know us, kind of.
Yeah.
So, and it's like shout out to my sister, by the way. It's like if someone is not working or your heart is pulling you towards another field, just talk about it with someone. Yeah. Like you'll be surprised at what can happen, and sincerely go to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with a lot of the things you want. So don't be afraid to pivot too. Don't say because you've done this clinical for 10 years, you must be there. You don't have to. You can do something else. Yeah. So I just wanted to.
I agree with you. So definitely like keep going at what you're doing. Pray to Almighty Allah for barakah.
Lean on the people around you.
Continue to chase after your ambitions. You're doing it for you. You're doing it for your family, and may Almighty Allah continue to put barakah in it. So I mean, if you have, to our viewers, if you have any examples you want to share with us on how you are balancing being a woman, wife, daughter, sister, the Lord, and also maybe like a call to action to media to try not to portray working women.
Do you know what I realize is that we are actually the next generation.
Yeah, you're coming.
So it's like whatever we even want to see, like put you and I, like for example, one of the reasons why we started this podcast was we want to hear more of our stories and want people like us, or even people that are like us, to understand our thought process, the things, the dynamics we're navigating, and also it's like I'm sure there are even sisters out there that they love filmmaking, storytelling. How about you write the story that portrays something that is
like what you would want to see in the media.
This rich woman has to
marry a driver.
No offense.
But
those narratives sometimes are harmful. Or the thing of, if you are rich, you must still prove that you are humble. That's why I said some of these conversations like the community has, it just keeps dragging us backwards, and I'm like, some of like our own contribution is that we are driving the conversation in the direction we want to. So, sisters, please, and brothers.
We also said like leaning on to support. So it's like support your wife.
And it's a two-way thing. Like, please don't be the wife that your husband too cannot tell you, or don't be the sister that your brothers cannot tell. Like, we are all here for each other ultimately. It saddens me sometimes to see like the gender wars. I understand that a lot of it is coming from historical context and hurt. But I think we owe it to ourselves to do better and push the direction, like the conversation in the direction we want. So generally we should all do better.
We'd love to hear from people. Maybe
how they
Yeah,
navigate
how they
like all of these
navigate.
hats we have to wear
Yeah.
as working women.
So we are still the Unveiled Voices,
Yeah.
and
Please like, share,
share,
subscribe.
continue to listen till we come your way next time again.
Bye.
Assalamu alaikum. Bye.
Bye.